This video is over topic 12, number 6 through 8. So looking at percentage word problems. And this particular is word problems where it's a percent of. And topic 13, we'll look at if it's a percent less, percent more, that type of thing is going to be different. So you do want to make sure to pay attention is a percent of something versus a percent change type question. Then it's a matter of putting it into either like rewriting as a sentence that you can turn into an equation or putting it into a proportion. So this first with number 6, we have in Indiana, approximately 12.4% of residents do not have reliable internet access. If there are 846,920 residents without reliable internet, what is the population of Indiana? So let's take this first sentence here and put it into a simpler sentence that we can potentially turn into an equation. So we have 12.4% of residents, that would be of all residents. So if we're saying of residents, that would be the same thing as the population of Indiana. So I'm just going to say that of population. And then we don't have the word is, so we're taking this whole do not have reliable internet access as our sort of is part. 12 point, so let's reword it a little bit. 12.4% of the population is without internet, let's see. Right. And then we want to figure out where this other number fits into that. So there are 846,920 residents, not just residents though, because it was of residents, but this is residents without reliable internet. So this is the without internet. So that goes here. So 12.4% of the population is 846,920. So the equation would be 0.124 or 12.4 divided by 100 of times the population is the unknown value equals 846,920. So to solve, divide 846,920 divided by 0.124. So this would, if you're calculating 12% of 846,920, that would be incorrect. Setting this up, I usually find a proportion. Personally, I think easier with word problems because I take the percentage from given a percentage of, so I look percent of, and then I go ahead and just stick that over 100, 12.4 over 100 equals, and then I look at that given number and I need to figure out, does that number go with the 12.4 or with the 100? Is it the part or is it the whole? And the 846,920 without reliable internet, and I want to know what is the population of Indiana. The other thing sometimes is to look at what is the thing I'm trying to find. Does that line up with the whole or the part? So the population of Indiana is going to be the larger group that includes the 846,920. The other thing with the proportion is to think about, does it need to be bigger or smaller? My unknown value of the whole population of Indiana needs to be the bigger number compared to the 846,000. So this is going to be my unknown, my whole population, versus the 12.4 and the 846,000 are both the people without internet. So then the solving is 100 times 846,920 divided by 12.4. Either way, it comes out 683 followed by 4 zeros, so 6,830,000. Right. Number 7, a 10-year-old home is worth 145% of its purchase price of 130,000. So I'm going to take that 145% of, I'm going to put 145 over 100. And then I look for what is it of its purchase price. What does it say? It's anything about its purchase price? It says of 130,000. So the 130,000 is the purchase price. So I put that as, again, it's P over 100 equals, say, is over of. You could also think of it as P over 100 equals part over whole if it's that type of relationship. But the of, whatever it's a percent of, is what goes on the bottom. What is the present value? So that's what it is worth, is the present value. That's the 145%. So again, you could also take this, so you could say present value, that's the thing we're looking for, is 145% of purchase price. So again, just turning it into a little bit simpler sentence, and then the 130,000 is the purchase price. So I can fill in that number there, get a sentence that I can turn into an equation. But you don't want to just assume that you're going to take the percentage decimal form times the given number until you make sure that that given number is the of value. 1.45 times 130,000 is 188,500. And then number 8, a book sold 34,300 copies in its first month of release. Suppose this represents 7.1% of the number of copies sold altogether to date. How many copies have been sold altogether to date? And we want to round to the nearest whole number. So again, proportion, I take the 7.1%, put it over 100, equals, what is a percent of? 7.1% of the number of copies sold altogether to date. How many copies have been sold altogether to date? So that's the unknown, is the of. And the 34,300, it says this represents 7.1%. So it's saying the 34,300 and the 7.1% both go with that first month. We could take that equation. So this, instead of say represents, say is 7.1% of, I'll just simplify that to total sold. This is the 34,300. So 34,300 is 7.1% of the total. And so then I can write an equation, 34,300 equals 0.071 times total. And so divide both sides by 0.071. And so either way, should come out 483,098, be like 0.5915. So that would round to 483,099.